All right, so today we're going to be modeling the passenger base as part of the Automoblocks. It's made out of ABS plastic. We have our dimensions here, and so we'll get started. I'm going to move my dimensions over to another window so I have them there for me. All right, first thing I'm going to do is save this as my passenger base part. So I already have it typed in there, so passenger base. I'm going to save that. Yeah, we're going to replace that. Start my sketch, XY plane. We're going to grab a rectangle tool and start from the origin. And we have 1.975 on the X. Tab over, 1.59 on the Y. Zoom in there. We're going to go ahead and do a fillet in the sketch. I know a lot of times we wait till the feature to do a fillet on the extrusion, but here it's a pretty simple part. We're just going to do it on the sketch. So I'm going to grab my fillet tool, set that to 0.3, and we'll grab all the corners. Okay. Now we're going to start sketching each shape and dimension it within the sketch. So we'll just start with a circle and then work clockwise around. So I'll grab my circle. I'm going to avoid sketching to these points so that it doesn't lock it in, and then when I go to try to dimension it, it's going to over constrain it. So I'm going to make sure that I don't get any lines that pop up or anything like that. So I'll grab my circle, diameter 0.58. Let's go ahead and lock that in place. To the top, we got 0.340. And then from the side, we have 0.49. And we got that locked into place. And you can see down here, my sketch is fully constrained. Next, we're going to grab a square. Again, I'm going to avoid locking this to anything. And we have 0.58. And it's square, so 0.58. I could use a constraint to lock those in as a square, but I'm not going to do that with this one. Ooh, we got right on the line there. We might have to start this one over so that I can actually dimension and get that moved down. Let's do that. So I'm going to Control Z. Let's try this again. So we'll just make it in the middle of nowhere here. So 0.58, 0.58. You know what? Just for fun, because this is always going to stay a square, I'm going to lock those in. Yep, it's going to over constrain it. Okay, so let's dimension it. 0.05. 0.2. We got our square locked in. Next, for the triangle, you could use lines to create your triangle. We're going to use the polygon tool just because it's an equilateral triangle, so it's easier. So do the drop down for a rectangle, choose polygon. We'll change that to 3. And then I'm just going to randomly create my triangle. If you get all these constraints up here, just hit done and they'll disappear. So first things first, I'm going to use a vertical constraint to make one of our lines vertical, and then I'll use the equals constraint to make sure that they stay locked in, and they're already locked in because we used that polygon tool. So we're going to dimension this line to 0.638, and then we'll dimension this point to the bottom at 0.05, and then from this point to this point at point 2. And we have the triangle locked in. Still fully constrained. All right, for the star, we're going to use a series of construction lines and different shapes to help guide us in making the star. It's a regular star, all the legs are equal lengths, etc. So this will make it nice and easy. So I'm going to choose my construction line tool here and grab my circle tool. Our outside circle, if you look at the dimensions, is 0.605. And you can see how that's a dotted line, so that's a construction line. I'm going to go ahead and lock that in from its center point. So from the side it's 0.488, and then from the center to the bottom 0.363. And so our circle's constrained. Now we'll add a polygon and a couple another circle. So I'm going to choose my polygon. Now I want a 5-sided figure since we're making a 5-point star. So 5. And if you look at the dimensions, let me bring those over quick. If you look at the dimensions, the point of the star is facing down. So I'm going to make the point of my polygon face down. So starting from the center, you can see how we spin this. I'm going to spin this down. It should lock into place, but that's okay because we're going to constrain it anyway. So we're going to create that. Done. One dimension needed, so it just needs to know how to lock in that polygon. We're going to use the horizontal constraint in this case and lock in that top line right there. And now we're fully constrained. Just repeat for the inner circle. So inner circle diameter 0.412. And then I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Usually you can just draw a line to the edges of the circle and go around and make your star. Since this is a regular star, I'm going to cheat a little bit or work smarter. I'm going to create a polygon. We're going to put it opposite to this pentagon we've just created. So starting from the center, I'm going to put the point at the top. Again, I'm going to lock it in place with that horizontal constraint, now this time on the bottom. And what this will allow us to do, I'm going to turn the constraints off just to make it a little bit more clear. So I'm going to hit F9. Zoom in here. So now what we're going to do is we'll take our line tool and literally just connect the dots. So from vertex to vertex, go around and connect the dots. So I'm going to make sure I turn off my construction lines, grab my line tool, and you want to make sure that the green dot gets highlighted. If you're on a yellow dot, you're not at an intersection. So green dot to green dot, and you can see my length of that line is 0.182. That's what we're going for. Click, creates a line. Still on that green dot, click again, bring it out to the next vertex. Click, click, and then just go all the way around the circle. Make sure you get that green dot. If you don't get the green dot, your star will be misshaped, or you could possibly not have a closed loop and it'll cause problems when you go to extrude it. And there we have it. So there we have our star. Still fully constrained. Now we're ready to extrude. We have our fillets, we have all of our shapes, their dimensions centered where they need to be. And so you can either finish sketch and extrude, or I'm going to shortcut and hit E. And our extrusion is 0.3. And I'm going to push that in, select that face. You can see looks good. So we're going to OK that. Now the last step is to shell it. And so what the shell feature does is it essentially hollows out our part, leaving just a wall. So the shell tool is up here in the Modify tab. So we're going to grab our shell tool. And there's different selections. Because we dimension to the outside dimensions, we're going to shell to the inside. So it won't change our dimensions of the part at all. There will be times where you'll shell to either side or out, etc. So we're shelling to the inside here. And you can kind of see the outline, how it's going to hollow out your part. We actually want to remove the back face so that we just have that remaining shell. So I'm going to remove face. Oops, I just unselected it. Remove face, select that. Our thickness in our dimensions is 0.01. You can see how that changed the dimension of the wall. And I'm going to click OK. And there we have it. Last thing we're going to do is assign this a material. So I'm going to click on my part. That selects the whole thing. I'm going to drop down. This is ABS plastic. And let's give this some color. So it's a green. So let's see, what green should we choose? There we go. And I think this one looks about right. There we go. And there's our part. Go ahead and click Save, and you're done. We'll see you next time.